All right, welcome back. You're still watching the TV47 Breakfast Show. It's a hashtag TV47 Breakfast Show on Twitter and on Facebook as well. It is a difficult time in history, and Kenyans are joining the whole world in dealing with the pandemic of coronavirus. And this means that most of us have to literally stay indoors. It is not so bad. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu this is the only way we can deal with the coronavirus and get done with it as a world. But then this is what you now call containment. How easy is it, especially for parents? We're joined by Victoria Somoina this morning, and we'd like to know how she is coping with the containment, especially as a parent. Lakini kumbuka pia wewe unaweza kutuambia moja kwa moja, nitaweza kusoma hewani. How are you coping with this containment, especially as a parent? And also remember, we are asking if we need a lockdown as a country now that the numbers are rising. All right, Somoina, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Corazon.
You're looking lovely in the morning.
Thank you so much.
Now, all right. Where are you, by the way, as we speak?
I'm in Samburu County.
All right. How is it in Samburu?
Yes.
Is the situation different from Nairobi?
At least it's better than Nairobi because we don't have any reported cases so far here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But as the numbers are increasing in the country, of course, we are all paranoid and we're all scared.
Right.
And our office will let go on 18,
mm-hmm.
which is pretty early actually. This is like my third week, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
So the first week,
mm-hmm.
it was quite exciting. It was like having a few days off, and being a working parent, we tend to always feel like someone else is raising our kids more than we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually happy to spend the time with my children. Mm-hmm. But my son's friends, my son is 10 years old and my daughter is 3. My son's friends, here's one of them actually. My son's friends could not understand what was actually going on, so they still kept coming over, thinking that it's a kawaida day or they're going to play the way they normally play. So I had to be that parent who tells them, no, you guys have to go home. And I had to actually sit them down and explain to them why not, how corona really, the impact it's having on our country right now. And I had to be that parent. I hope the parents did not take it badly. But yeah, I had to do it.
Right.
So by the second week, they started getting monotonous, and the kids were restless. My son liked school, and he kept on asking me, Mom, how long do you think we're still going to be home? How long do you think it's going to take before we go back to school? And I didn't have the figures, and I still don't have them till now. So I had to come up with a timetable for him, for his study timetable. So I let him do chores through the morning, and in the evening they could study. And my daughter just started playgroup, so she's also really active right now. Good thing I did is when we went for quarantine, when we were let go in the office, I actually bought a lot of coloring books, many coloring books for her. So at least that keeps her busy. And basically, I'm trying to be positive about it, but it gets really monotonous, staying in the house, especially when you're used to having your routine of going to work, coming back,
Right.
it gets a bit...
So do you think you have been compelled to be more creative as a parent, and especially an African parent,
Yes.
because we are not so adventurous with our children?
Very true. I'm telling you, I have cheza cha mama na cha baba, playing house with my children. I have given piggyback rides. I've learned how to dribble a ball, Creativity has no limits. And also in my cooking, yes, YouTube has really helped. I've become very creative there.
This seems like a difficult moment for parents who don't want to get involved with in their children's lives, or maybe even cook. But the restlessness, does it calm down at some point when you become more creative, when you play with them? And how do you hold them in the house so that they do not go outside at all? That seems to be some task.
It is. The good thing is I have a small compound around, so at least they get to play outside, and I thank God for that, and also for being fortunate enough to actually have a variety, to be able to have bought for them a variety of meals and actually play around also with dough. We do ngangano things, and we start making like elephants and such things. I'm thankful to God for that, because I know some people don't actually have the luxury of having that kind of, many things to do, variety of food to eat. space like the one I have, the space I have outside my house for my kids to play. I'm thankful for that, actually.
Right.
I think if we lived somewhere smaller, it would actually have been harder, or we were sharing a house with many people, they wouldn't have their space. But I thank God for that blessing that they have the space outside to actually play.
All right. Many Kenyans actually right now are asking for some sort of a lockdown because the numbers are increasing. And we know our neighbor, Uganda, actually initiated a lockdown yesterday. What's your opinion on this as a Kenyan? We know this comes at a high cost as well, with many other things disrupted.
Personally, I think what we're doing so far is already affecting so many people, but it's for the greater good. I saw some write-up somewhere that we can bring up the economy again, but we can't resurrect someone. But I think if the government wants to do it, if they decide to do it, they need to come up with provisions to feed those people who can't feed themselves. You get? There was this thing that used to be here, relief food, right? I think they should actually come up with something and a whole care package of food every week to take to those homes. Because you can't tell someone to stay at home and they're not eating anything, they'll die of hunger, or people will start having disruptive behavior, going to break down houses and loot shops and such things, If they're going to put such measures in place, like a complete lockdown, they have to think about ways to help those who do not have. They have to think about it.
All right.
They have to.
Thank you very much, Somoina Victoria. Say hi to the little ones, and I hope you have inspired other parents to be more creative. Asante sana. All right, stay safe. Thank you so much.
For having me.
All right, okay. That is a Victoria Somoina, a parent and a Kenyan is all sharing her experience. She has definitely to be more creative as a parent so that she gets to catch up with her children and calm them down. We are joined by Apollo John all the way from Homabay County. Now, Apollo John has an initiative in Homabay County that literally does free delivery of goods to those who cannot access the markets and cannot access these goods, especially the fresh produce, because they have to stay at home to actually mitigate the spread of coronavirus. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back with Apollo John, who is a lawyer and a protocol expert in Homabay County. All right, welcome back. We're joined by Apollo John all the way from Homabay County this morning to talk about the free delivery that they do using an initiative called Invincible Hands. And this is to aid those who cannot access or cannot reach to the shops, especially those who are older, those who are elderly. But remember, the conversation this morning is also, should we have a lockdown as a country? This is because the cases or the numbers have been rising, and many people have suggested that despite the impact of what would be a lockdown, it is better to save lives than to lose everything in an attempt to save what is left of our economy. Apollo John, karibu sana. Habari ya Homabay?
Salam, Homabay School.
All right, that is quite some distance. What is the situation like, really, comparing Homabay to Nairobi? I know you are also quite informed on what's happening in Nairobi.
Homabay is quite cool, though everyone is scared,
right,
with what's happening in the whole country. Yes.
Are the numbers, are people social distancing? Are numbers on the streets in the towns lesser than they usually are?
Definitely, the numbers have reduced. People are keeping distance, people are keeping at home. So compared to before the outbreak of the coronavirus, the numbers on the streets have really reduced.
Okay. I know you are quite informed on what goes on in Uganda. Before we talk about Invisible Hands, maybe just get your opinion on what Uganda has done. Uganda has initiated a lockdown, and that was from 10 p.m. yesterday. And this has, well, quite propelled the conversation to take up strongly here in the country as well. Do you think it was a good decision? Do you think we should emulate that?
Uganda yesterday, His Excellency the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni announced a lockdown. Actually, he did the announcement around 9, and the lockdown was beginning at 10. I think it was quite disturbing. Those who were on the road, because he banned private cars on the road. No one should be allowed to be seeing private cars. I think it's important, but equally it's very inconveniencing at that particular time. And Uganda has not experienced much cases of COVID-19 to warrant a lockdown. In my opinion, I think they hurried up in making such a decision for a lockdown in Uganda.
Some people have actually asked kama wale watu ambao walipatikana wakiwa njiani are going to stay where they are for 21 days. Some think it's quite erratic. But this has propelled the conversation in the country as well. Sure. Some people tried this. India, for instance, tried a lockdown and, well, took a step back because of the impact on the economy and how difficult life becomes. Is this a conversation we should begin having strongly as a country, a lockdown?
I would prefer a lockdown, sincerely speaking. What we need to do as a country is to put the stern measures on social distancing and keeping the hygiene standards, sanitizing and washing our hands regularly, and the masses being sensitized on the health issues concerning the coronavirus. A lockdown, we are not silly at there as a country. I don't think it's the best.
We should wait maybe for the numbers to become a little more before
we don't need to wait for the numbers though, but we just need to work on our health measures as a country. We need to have some measures put in place to curb this disease. A lockdown will come at a later stage, not as much as because we may think of the numbers increasing, but it's a situation it's a dire situation for us to reach that level of a lockdown. And again, the economy will be affected massively.
Okay. Well, social distancing ni muhimu sana. Unaona vile mimi na wewe tuko mbali kabisa, usije ukakwata mambo Nairobi kurudisha Homabay.
Ni muhimu sana.
Kwa wazee, right. Invisible Hands, this is a very good initiative, and well, that it does free delivery. I know that Homabay County is one of the counties that have been mentioned as counties that have quite significant levels of poverty and other challenges as well. What informed the decision to have Invisible Hands as an initiative?
Homabay County generally is a rural county, true. And if you, going by the recent survey, it has a high prevalence of HIV. It's another factor. Invisible Hands is a voluntary group. What informed the initiation of this group is the government request and directive that people should stay at home. This is quite phenomenal that we keep distance. But to realize that there are many people, our elderly, the needy persons generally, and the sick, who will try as much as they can to stay at home. But basically realize they still need some items in the supermarkets or in town. And we came up with this idea so that we can help these people. It's a voluntary group. Someone, we tell them, just stay at home. If you have to go to a supermarket to buy sugar, to buy flour or salt, we help in a certain way that you stay at home. The only thing you do is send us to bring you this item at home. This one will help us in what we call the self-distancing. So this is what formed the initiation of Invisible Hands, a voluntary group that helps people in free transport delivery.
All right. How does it happen exactly? Do you have a number that someone calls? How do you get to know what someone needs so that it is taken right to their doorstep? And which means of transport is used?
The process begins with what we have done. We have circulated our numbers within Homabay town and its environs, and quite a number of people are having these numbers. The process starts by you calling our call center. We have volunteers with different numbers. We have quite almost 6 numbers. So you call any of them. You call, identify yourself and your location. Then our volunteer will take down what you require and where you prefer them to be bought from. After which, after taking all this, we have our motorbikes. The riders will be called and they are sent to certain stores or supermarkets or wherever these items will be found. The first thing they do is always to ascertain the price of such commodities, by which after that they call the person who wanted the items and inform them of the price. We have two modes of payments. One, if you're in a supermarket where the prices of such goods are certain, we advise them to pay through the pay bill number of such stores, so that upon payment, we confirm and the goods are picked. Our riders have sanitizers. They keep the highest health standards in the fight against COVID-19. They'll make sure everything is sanitized. They have gloves while picking the items. Then they'll get the direction properly and they will ride to your destination. And there's no contact between the rider and the person who is sent for the goods, but they also help them sanitize. The sender will eventually confirm if these are the goods that he ordered or requested for, upon which we will call the office and confirm to us that I've received the goods. Then immediately we'll release the rider and they go and park at a certain place. Our riders, another point that we need to note, they are not border. They are not carrying other people. Their basic work is just they have boxes and they park at a certain place. We only call them to deliver goods to certain places.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, this looks like, well, first of all, they are volunteers.
Yes.
So, and they volunteer to shop, they volunteer to deliver, and then there is a running cost of this entire operation. These people, if they're not paid at all, you need fuel for this process to be accomplished. How do you execute? How do you get people on board to actually agree to do this?
That's our point of joining. The main point, the people we have are people who have basically decided to be volunteers, and it's pure voluntary work. So the people we have, even the motorbikes, you realized most of them have been given to us. The people who had motorbikes, they're no longer going to work with them. The motorbikes are parked at home, so someone decided to give you a motorbike. That's one point. The volunteers, like the ones who are receiving the calls, are school leavers who are at home. People have come back at home. They purely volunteer to receive the calls and instruct the bikers. The only cost or challenge we have is that these motorbikes, we have to fuel them. But look at it, so when we started this as the founders, we contributed some little money ourselves that can run and fuel the motorbikes to deliver certain goods to various destinations. Even the shopping, actually. The people who are going to the supermarket, the shopping, they do it on voluntary basis. So the only cost we incur here, or what we spend money on, is basically the fueling of the motorbikes. That's what we undertake.
All right. And before we probably before I ask if there's an official call out there for anyone who would like to join the initiative and what they can do, the role they can play, how far can you go? Homabay County is a very rural county, most of it. The terrain and the depth of Homabay County sometimes is not easily accessible. That the people who live in the very depth of the rural part of it, is this accessible to anyone who has a phone? Mtu anataka skuma, anataka omena yake, anataka samaki yake, anataka mora lenya yake, you know, such things. Is it accessible to anyone and everyone?
That's one of the biggest challenges we are facing as Invincible and Homabay. One is terrain, as you have put it right. At times you find some areas are inaccessible, and it becomes very difficult for our motorbikes to access certain areas. So there's a challenge. At times, now it's raining and all that, you find that the roads are impassable at times. Another challenge are the things that people do order. At times, someone sends you, like you put it omena, someone wants kubawiki, someone wants nyanya, and all those things. At times, it becomes quite difficult for our volunteers to go to the market and buy these things. However, we are lucky that we have, so far we have 2 cars. Like last week we did a delivery using our cars because the person sent for a bulk of goods, and the place where he was residing was a bit, the road was not good, and we decided to use a car to deliver this. So far we have 2 cars. But it's a big challenge. One thing we realized that many people are calling. The response is so high, and at times the number of bikes we have might not adequately serve the population or those who are in need of these services. So we encourage everyone to join us as a voluntary work where they can help us. And also, you see, we are keeping the health standards. Our motorbikes riders are having sanitizers. At times we don't have enough sanitizers when they're doing the deliveries. So some of these challenges we face, but we are struggling. So we call upon anyone who will be able to join Invincible Hands so that we ensure that our elderly, our needy people stay at home to avoid coming to town for us to fight this COVID-19.
All right. And for those who would be joining, at what capacity? What is it that you need, that Invisible Hand needs? Is it a car? Is it money for fuel? And have you thought about other needs that these people may not be able to afford, maybe medicine, and maybe even, well, the basic food? What if there is somebody among these people who doesn't need delivery, they actually need the commodities?
I think our voluntary work transcends beyond pure delivery of the items. When you're doing a humanitarian work as such, at times we project it beyond the normal delivery. It's about helping the humanity. And instances have arose whereby we sometimes have to go deep in our pockets and buy certain goods to someone. There's a day our motorbike did a delivery to someone, and the neighbor, a old lady, thought maybe this is a charity who are helping people to get goods, and she really wanted something. But I told her, no, we're just helping in transport. But she was there claiming that, okay, I was complaining, why don't I get something? We had to go down and buy some items and deliver to her free of charge. So quite a number of people who are in need. There are those who are sick that would love to have medication, and apart from the delivery, the people who are so needy. And I think our work, with the help of others who will be joining us, we need to transcend it beyond the delivery, so that in a situation whereby once in a week or twice, we are able to identify the most vulnerable and at least help them with certain commodities, the basic commodities they need.
Apollo, I think this is particularly a very good initiative, being Homabay County, as we know it's Homabay County. If there is an official call out there for those who are watching from Homabay County and beyond who would like to join, what would they come in with to make this a complete project that is sustainable, so it can run for the period that we need this containment to happen? The call, what our request is that everyone and the well-wishers should join us. We have our numbers. There are people who will join. Of course, we have founders on a voluntary basis. We need, especially in Homabay County, if you realize accessibility is more flexible when we're using the motorbikes. We have quite a number, and we're still asking people to join us. Anyone who can donate to us a motorbike, or those who are able to help us in terms of getting enough fuel, and those who have items or food stuff that they would love to donate also can contact us, so that we have a broader meaning of fighting this COVID-19. I think that's our call to everyone. Join the Invisible Hand so that we fight this together. All right. Looking at Homabay County as a county, and the fact that there are areas that are quite remote, what are some of the needs that you think such an area should be provided with, so that they are not shocked or attacked by this virus?
There are some areas which are quite remote. And the challenge, if you look at, let me give you a scenario. Homabay County has got almost 6 islands, which are quite inaccessible. We have ferries and boats going to such areas, and realize it becomes very difficult to keep distance. Like you find it's only one ferry plying Mbitam, Fangano route. These people won't be able to effectively observe the distancing we are trying to ensure we keep. These people at times need access to health centers. I think the best thing we need to do as a country through the Ministry of Health and the country Department of Health is to ensure that our people have adequate healthcare facilities and medicine, so that they're not forced to move far distances depending on the terrain and the bad roads we have in such areas in seek of medicine. And also, if you look at it, accessing the markets is also quite difficult at times during this time that we have to keep distance.
All right. Apollo, I know one of the things that I want to emphasize again is the need for food.
Yes.
If people will not be able to assist the needy in such remote areas who depend on going to the market on a daily basis to feed themselves, what is going to become of residents of places like Homabay County in such a containment?
It's going to be difficult. If most of our people who are living in the formal sector, these women depend on hand to mouth. They go to the market, sell their commodities and get something to take home. If they don't go to the market, if they don't get out, then they go back home without anything. So the situation will be very difficult if our people are not able to get out in good time and go back home late as they used to do. Actually, Homabay initiated what you call, let me term it, Okonyowelo. Okonyowelo were street lights that were meant for our women to sell until late, because realize after work is when people go to the market to buy items, and this is no more. These ladies no longer sell till that late, and therefore their lives become more difficult. I think it's going to be a very difficult situation as a country, depending on the COVID-19, which is now quite spreading very fast. If our people are not going to access the markets, they are not able to sell the items, because these people live in an aspect of hand to mouth. They have to get out first. We have Juakali sector, they have to go and make shares and everything for people to buy and all that. This is no longer possible. So
right, it's going to be quite challenging. Apollo, would there be a need or a possibility for the county government, because I know we've been asking this of the national government as well, to have initiatives like Invincible Hands that maybe do just food delivery or just giving food to these people? Do you think there's a need? I know you're a young leader in Homabay County as well.
It's a quite a good phenomenon to have food deliveries. Though this is a matter that will go beyond the county. I think the national government, together with the county government, should look into it in a situation whereby our people, because if you look at the situation, these people have nothing at all. I think government should start looking into this in a situation whereby they'll be able to do food deliveries to the needy people. I heard about it. Rwanda has begun something like that they're giving food and such commodities to the people who are needy, actually home to home. So I think it's something that our governments, both the national government and the county government, should start thinking of in case such a situation arises, so that they're able to feed our people actually. If not, then people will die of hunger instead of COVID-19. Right,
because actually some people are saying that it is better to stay alive than to ask for food. But the question is, for how long can a human being stay without food or even water? Because we know water is also, as much as they have the lake, water is another need in those areas. As we come maybe to the very tail end, Apollo, you are a leader in Homabay County. You are a young leader. How prepared are the counties, and particularly Homabay County? I'm told by a few contacts that this information of social distancing, not shaking hands, this information is not really getting or penetrating into the rural areas as they should. How prepared is the information getting there? How prepared are they?
Without holding brief for Homabay County, I think that's quite a question that I would prefer to be answered by either the CEC in charge of health or the emergency response team that
Right. Not on behalf of Homabay
yes.
County, but as a young leader. You're a youth in Homabay County, and I know you have ambitions as well as a leader. Your judgment as an individual, your position on this?
I think where we are now as a country and as a county, people are quite aware of COVID-19. The only challenge I would propose, or I believe is still there, is that some people in the rural areas especially are still not aware of the precautionary measures we need to take in terms of fighting the COVID-19. You go to a home and realize someone, not even a soap, they don't have such essentials. So I think people are aware of it, but the challenge is people are not aware how to fight this menace.
All right.
Thank you.
Apollo, watu wanasema kwamba tunahitaji tissue paper, lakini kule nyumbani watu husema tissue paper ni mambo ingine. Sasa pale nyumbani hii mambo ya tissue paper wewe unaona aje itawezekana?
Ngumu sana.
Sasa serikali inunulie watu wa nyumbani tissue paper maniaje?
Itabidi.
Itabidi.
Wale imefika itabidi watusaidie sasa. Kuna unapata nyumbani hakuna mtu ako hapo, tissue paper iko. So hali ya afya pia inakuwa ngumu sana.
Kwa sababu ile matawi watu hutumia labda haitasaidia wakati hii.
Sema hivyo.
Thank you very much, Apollo. Congratulations once again together with your entire team, Invincible Hands. I do hope that people will join you. But just as we finish, the context, anyone who wants to join Invincible Hands to give energy and more life to this initiative, how would they be able to reach Invincible Hands? Is there a PAB number? Is there contact?
We have contacts. I can give you the contact. We have a Facebook page. And I think basically that's what we're using so far.
Can you mention? Could you just mention so that those who want to join?
I have it somewhere, I think, written somewhere.
All right, or we will be able to give them actually on our social media platforms.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Apollo. Travel safely back to Homabay County. Wasalimie sana, waambie kwamba tuko pamoja katika hali hii na kwamba we will all overcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll pass your greetings.
All right. Thank you very much once again for staying with us. That is Apollo John, who is one of the founders and actually the founder zero, if there's a word like that, of Invincible Hands, an initiative in Homabay County that does free delivery of commodities to the elderly and those who need such services. He's also a lawyer and a protocol expert generally and as a whole. Thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching TV47 Breakfast. The hashtag yenyewe is TV47 Breakfast on Twitter and on Facebook. We are coming to you live as well on our TV47KE on Twitter and on Facebook. And if you have missed most of this, then catch up with us on our website www.tv47.co.ke for the flesh that you have missed. We have a few minutes to the end of this show. We'd like to take a look at some of your feedback and what we have in the dailies just as we close up. But before that, let me first of all take a quick break. I'll be right back.